meant to be. I'm like, yeah, she just came out to us. So, oh, we're live already.
We're live.
We're live.
Yeah, we were just actually having this beautiful catch up just before our live, and Facebook just kind of springs it on you that you're live. But welcome everyone to Food for Thought Thursday. Today I have Ioana with me. We've done a few collaborations together in the past. She's been on my podcast talking about her book, My Breakup with the Scale. And I'm so excited to have her back here today. And we'll just be talking a little bit more about what we see in the communities, both as fitness experts and health experts, around dieting, around disordered eating, and how it's starting to affect more and more people. So welcome, Ioana.
Thank you so much, Sal. I'm so happy to be here again. And I love every time we connect because you're such an amazing spirit, and our missions are aligned with each other from Australia all the way to Canada.
Yes.
So I love it. And I think that it really, as the saying goes, it does take a village. And the more of us that are out there speaking and creating this space, the more people have an opportunity to know that, you know, there's hope. There's hope around, and you know where to find it. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, you are so welcome. And I am just so glad that, oh my gosh, I'm just laughing. My husband's actually just cleaning the windows outside.
Real life. This is the world that we live in right now, Stella, right? Facebook Live. Who knows what's going to happen with my kids? They might pop in any second. But this is the world. This is the reality. This is real life, everyone. We're not in studios. We're not. This is how it is. So yeah.
So there we go. Just if you're wondering what that scraping noise was. But anyway, yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important for us to just open up and talk about these things. And I wonder if you wanted to start with just your experience, maybe just yourself. And you know, you're welcome to dive in a little bit about, you know, what you like shared in your book, and on our podcast before, just with regards to eating behaviors, disordered eating. Doesn't necessarily have to be a specific eating disorder. And let's start with that.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, you know, I was just thinking before we connected now, I was going to say this evening, but it's your morning. So at the moment, before we connected now, and I was thinking about yo-yo dieting, right? And I was thinking about the yo-yo and the yo. So the yo of, you know, the binging or the emotional eating, and that's really a coping mechanism, right? You and I both know that. And then on the other side of the yo is the you know, the extreme dieting or whatever it is, whatever that looks like for people, or extreme exercising, and that's related to self-worth and judgment and value, but that's also a coping mechanism. So it becomes this very weird and vicious cycle, because one thing is constantly contradicting the other, and you feel like you never get off the wheel. You know, you're and I think that one thing that I was really thinking about, Stella, especially nowadays with everything going on in the world, is I think it's really important to take away the blame, the shame, and the guilt away from it, and to stop not only blaming ourselves or even our parents, but this is something that's kind of passed down to us for hundreds of years, right? Like, this isn't a new thing. And then not to blame ourselves, because it's always been challenging times, but especially now. So people that are going, oh, I can't believe, you know, insert whatever it is. And I'm sure you've heard it, you know, we talked about this the last time, which is that everybody's preparing to be released out into the world now. So everybody's panicking again. They're going back into, I need to lose the whatever nicknames they give for the COVID weight. And then they're falling back into, that's what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing everybody, oh, I have to get ready, or I don't fit my clothes or whatever. And then it's just going back. People are getting back on the wheel. And that's a little bit of a concern to me. Don't you? What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that is so much part of our perfectionist mindsets, where we're either on a diet or we're off the diet. And maybe in COVID, we've gone into like a bit of comfort eating, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, screw it, you know, like who cares? No one's going to see me anyway, right? And so we fall into this trap of eating pretty much like, or possibly going into binge cycles, who, you know, depending on what's been happening for you and how you felt. And, you know, that's okay. You know, if binge eating was something that supported you through that, then just know that that is also okay. One of my clients actually the other day mentioned that food is a friend, and she was actually scared to start a healing journey. And I said to her, well, did you notice that you mentioned that food was your friend? And no, but you want to be healthy. And but meaning being healthy means we take away that friend, that coping mechanism of yours. And that is actually such an interesting space to be in, where we've used food for comfort, but now we're going back into the real world, and now all of a sudden we expect everyone to just think that we're perfect and that we have no flaws, and that, you know, we came through COVID unscathed, didn't gain, like, you know, lost weight or didn't gain weight or whatever the case is. Meanwhile, everyone's been struggling, you know, whether they've gained weight or not. You know, let's go back into the world with compassion. Like,
Yes.
instead of worrying what people are going to think about you, your body and your appearance right now.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And especially that point that you said about compassion. I mean, I think compassion is such a great word, because that's something that we really need to adapt to ourselves and then the whole planet. As you said, we've all been through this. This isn't a foreign experience. Everybody's been going through this. And I think it's important to understand we're all unique individuals, and each of our experience is completely unique. And we've all been in survival mode. Literally, we've been in survival mode. So our bodies are programmed. I mean, they're beautiful things. Our brains are programmed to help us when they think that we're in trouble. And so that can look different for everyone. And you know, I know so many people, and food is not that thing for people. It might be something else. It might be, you know, alcohol. It might be drugs. It might be whatever it is. It might, there's so many different,
Netflix,
it might be Netflix.
social
Yes,
media, you know, TikTok,
exactly. Yes.
losing yourself in TikTok for hours, which is so easy to do, by the way.
I know. Oh, trust me. Yes, me and my kids. It's yeah. So the thing, I guess my point is don't judge yourself. I mean, just because you're emerging into the world and you've gained whatever amount it is, and somebody else hasn't, it doesn't mean that you're worse than them. I think that that's the issue. Everybody wants to leave the house going, look at me, I'm fine. Listen, we've all been through stuff. We've all struggled in our own way. It's okay. And I think that the bottom line is it has to start with ourselves and not judging ourselves, because if we don't, we're just going to go back into the world and repeat the same behavior, because guess what, stressors are going to be around forever.
Yeah.
We're going to have challenges forever. So let's stop this blaming ourselves. So compassion is the perfect word.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think self-blame is so powerful as well, because, you know, I think we feel like we need to be in control all the time, and if we're not, then we are terrible people. We don't have self-discipline. You know, I used to name myself all sorts of names because I can't control myself around food. Meanwhile, yes, that's part of me, but the other part of me has automatically started using food as a crutch in a way, you know, used binge eating as a crutch. And then I started using the whip of the guilt and shame as a crutch too, because I knew that would get me back into binge eating.
Yeah.
So we can
Yes.
fall so easily into a trap. And I think, like you said, there's responsibility for us. And the responsibility is not to be eating healthy and be 100% on your meal plan. The responsibility is to allow yourself to step out, understand that everyone's gone through this, you know, and like, stop worrying what you look like, you know. And it
Exactly.
might be hard for people to understand, but, you know, self-esteem comes from the inside, no matter what your body looks like.
I agree with that.
And yeah.
I mean, you know, the thing that, and I think we may have discussed this before, but, you know, I always talk about the radio station, right? Speak of myself as a radio station, and trying to dial into my higher self and to try to dial out the noise.
Mm.
And And there's so much noise, and I think that the noise is much more prevalent now because we're inside a lot and we're not distracted. And I think that that could be another addiction as well, the distraction of overscheduling or going out a lot or going out to parties. And none of those things is bad necessarily, except that you're not hearing the things. And that could be the noise of the voices, the saboteurs in your head, or the noise of things like social media. So if you're prone to self-judgment and worth and value, if you're home more now, as you said, and you can go into the spiral of social media and on Instagram, and you're seeing the fit spo and this spo and that spo and the 6 packs and the 12 packs, that's just going to trigger your brain even more. So I think that it's important, first of all, for people to understand you're okay. There's nothing wrong with you that you're experiencing all of these things, but to ask that question, to be introspective and go, okay, well, what can I do? What can I, you have to interrupt it. We have to break the
Yeah.
cycle. And the only way that we can do that, first of all, is knowing that you're on that you're on a wheel. The second of all is to understand what the wheel is all about. So ask yourself, like, what is this behavior coming from? And third is to take some sort of action. And I guess that's where people like you or me, in terms of like movement and stuff like that, that's where we come in. But people have to take action, right, Stell? Like
Yes,
something has to happen.
absolutely. And like you said, the first action we have to do is, start listening to what you are saying to yourself. How are you talking to your body? How are you talking about bodies? You know, what are your thoughts when you see a larger body? What are your thoughts when you see a smaller body? What are your thoughts when you see any form of body? Is there praise? Is there judgment? Notice how that kind of builds up in your mind, and notice how often that thought is actually there about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. We need to slow down. And like you said, we need to dedicate some time away from distraction, whether that is eating, whether that is, alcohol or drugs or any distraction method, and slow down and actually take some time to observe. And we can't do that if we are like just 100% always like busy, like you were saying. We need to dedicate some time to this. And
Yes.
that's when we can see how an emotional response to even just our thoughts about food. Like, what are your thoughts about food? Do you judge other people's when they eat? Do you judge yourself when you eat? Do you judge an apple versus a Snickers bar? Um,
Yeah.
what is happening inside that mind? What is the noise? And once we can start seeing that noise, that's when we can start managing our urges. We can start managing just the way we speak to ourselves in general, because let's be honest, that could be really mean up there.
So mean. That voice up there can be so mean. And that's a voice that's existed in us depending on how long we've had these conversations. I mean, for me, it's been 30 plus years. For you, it's been a while. So
Mm,
understanding that that's been a voice that's been there for a while. So it may take it may take a little bit of time to create a new conversation. and
yeah.
and and that's okay. I think that that's the other fallacy, is that, okay, well, I have an eating disorder. I understand that. So can I just, switch it off? That's not how it works either. Like,
No.
as you said, it's a lot. It's a process. I mean,
Mm,
this is creating, over time, our neural pathways have created super highways, and that's our go-to. That's our, for better or for worse, that's the place that we're comfortable being. It's like,
yes.
I was thinking about it today. It's like being in a prison cell, and then having the key and knowing that you can get out, but then you always come back in because that's what you've known all your life. It can be
Yes.
daunting to go out into this new world and go, okay, well, what do I do now? What am I supposed to think with food? How am I supposed to act? You know what? I'd
Mm,
rather just not think about it. I'm just going to go back into my cage, into my old behavior. But the problem is, as you and I know, is that the longer we stay in that cage, the more detrimental it can be for our health. And then
mhm.
unfortunately, the people around us as well, and how we interact with them. So it's really important to interrupt that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And, you know, um, that's where most people need help. Like I needed help because I wanted to change. However, every time I tried, I went with strict eating and over exercising and, you know, whatever else I could do to lose the weight because I thought that was the problem. And, you know, I cut out more and more food. And that's just aggravated the thoughts in my head and my mind, you know, and especially if I like fell off and I binged again, then it's like, well, you see what a failure you are. And it just feeds that little zombie, as I call it. I call it the food zombie, food zombie
I like
brain.
that. Yes. Tell me more about this food zombie brain.
So the food zombie brain is actually part of the hypothalamus, which is the part that actually controls our like thoughts, but also some of the more automatic things. And it's the part that wants us to survive and the part that wants us to feel safe. And when we've been using food to feel safe, it will start telling you things like, come on. It creates these urges like, oh, you just need this, you know, it will create like thoughts in your mind like you deserve this, or screw it, you know, you've messed up already, or whatever the case is. It creates sensations in the body, and eventually you give in because you want to avoid the food zombie that keeps telling you to eat. And that food zombie, why I called it food zombie mode, is it's almost like it switches off your mind when you're in the act of binging or like in that urge. Switches off your mind, like you're almost watching yourself from the outside, just uncontrollably eating.
I love that. I love that metaphor, the analogy. That makes perfect sense because that's exactly what happens. You, in an instant, you just go in straight into autopilot, and
Yeah,
whatever conversation you had before is just out the
it's
door.
out the
You open
door.
up that fridge and everything. Yeah, you're right. The zombie. I like that. I like that. It makes sense. It's
So yeah, like it's so funny, but like, you know, when we actually understand that that zombie is actually just the neural pathways and our
yes.
brain that's trained us to automatically eat, or automatically, like, you know, some people don't eat on purpose because that's the way they control themselves in different eating disorders. And that's just the way that our neural pathways, the food zombie brain, has developed itself. And we can unravel that once we see that reality.
Yes, yes, I love that. And just along those same lines, I think it's important that people understand, as I was saying earlier, is that because we're each of us is unique, our story is unique. We don't know how long those neural pathways have been in construction mode, how wide they are, how big the highway is. Everyone's journey can look a little bit different and can take a different amount of time. I think that that's an important thing for people to understand as well, because they might go, oh, I saw, so and so, my friend had eating disorders and she was fine after X amount of time. How come it's taking me so long? How come I'm
Mm.
still having those thoughts? How come I'm still, not very comfortable? And I think that that's important for people to understand that, you know, that this becomes a journey as well. Like I stopped weighing myself in October. I don't know how many months that is. And I'm fine without the scale right now. But there are moments where I'm like, oh, I
I wonder
wonder,
what that
you know,
number is.
the little
Yes.
zombies like, well, why don't you just, like, my little daughter for her school project had to get out the scale because I've hidden it, but she knows where I've hidden it, which is funny. And she had to use it to weigh something. I don't know what she had to weigh. And I looked at it and I thought, hmm, why don't I just, and then I thought, what are you doing? Why don't you
Mm.
just why don't you just step on the scale to see how much you weigh and then what? But
Yeah.
my point is that that's okay. And, and I have through this journey allowed myself to eat, and so I'm not maybe in the shape that I was when I was in my really excessive exercising, really excessive dieting mode. So that could mean that I'm larger, and I there are days where I'm like I'm not gonna lie. I think about that. There's
Mm.
pictures all over the place. I'll be scrolling through, looking at something. I go, oh my goodness, that's how I look, and that's okay too. I think that's what is important for
Yes.
people to understand. You don't just like all of a sudden embrace this new world and you've forgotten about everything. This becomes a journey as well, and that's all right, right, Steph?
That's absolutely all right. I actually used to do like my I've also stopped weighing myself, and um actually with this I've done a massive running event over the weekend, and my habit used to be get on the scale before you run, then run a marathon or whatever, and then get on the scale afterwards to see how much weight you've lost so that you can praise yourself. But then also that gives you an excuse to binge, right? Um, so through this process of running over the weekend, I ran 48 miles over the period of 48 hours. And it was weird. It was Saturday morning and Sunday morning. I woke up and I'm like, I wonder how much weight I've lost. Like,
Yes. Yes.
maybe I
Yes.
should get on the scale. But just
Yes.
know that those thoughts are there because they've been there for so long. For 13 years, I abused running and I abused the scale in that way. And all of a sudden, I was running again at that momentum and like so and that distance. And obviously, old memories came out because it's not like that memory comes out every day anymore. I've worked on that, you know. But you're right, it does come up, and it's not to say that you need to judge yourself. It's just like, aha, there you are, food zombie, or there you are, you know, those thoughts. I see you, and that's where we have the power to choose rather and go, no, that's just my old conditioning. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to move forward.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
I think that's great. And I love that you said that. And I love that we're having this conversation because I think it's important for people because sometimes people can decide to go on the journey and then they're there. And then all of a sudden one day they wake up and they're feeling these things. And then they think, does that mean I failed? Forget it. And then they go
yes,
back into the thing. So it's a journey. Every day is just like everything in life. It's
yes,
every single thing is a journey,
journey,
but not judging ourselves is a really 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 important thing, as like now probably more than ever, as as we were saying, as the world starts to open up and people start re-emerging. It's okay. It's
hmm
okay. We've all been through something. Everybody's been through
yes,
something, so
mm,
that's really
yeah.
important.
Absolutely. And I think one thing we all need to kind of start thinking of is that we need to stop putting conditions on our happiness. You know, once I fit into that jeans, like that size jeans, I'll be happy. Or once I weigh X, I'll be happy. Or, you know, once I feel like my arms don't flap when I wave at
Yes.
someone, then I'll be
Yes.
happy. If you do that, you are just always lending yourself your happiness out somewhere else. But there is happiness in this moment. And like,
Absolutely.
no matter what we're going through, no matter how dire our situation seems with lockdown and uncertainty, is we can always tune into something that we can be grateful for and that can make us happy right now in this moment, regardless of what we look like.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And I think that we all know that true happiness, and I believe many of us have experienced it, is really, as you said, comes from a deeper place and comes from purpose. And the purpose doesn't have to be, providing clean water for a whole country, which obviously would be great. I'd love to do that. But it could be something as simple as opening the door for somebody that's coming towards you, letting
Mm,
that person overtake you, um, being saying a kind word to somebody at the checkout line. All those
yes,
things create such joy. Gratitude, like a
gratitude.
real
Yeah,
gratitude practice. Those are things that create true joy, purpose, transcendental purpose, all those
mm,
things. And I think that the other fallacy as well is that we need to be happy all the time. Like we just need to
yes,
be in this state of pure bliss, and this
mm,
whole follow your bliss. And trust me, I wrote a book about bliss and everything, but and that's great, but it's okay to just be. It's okay to
yes,
just be peaceful. We don't have to have those hits of dopamine all the time, and
mm,
adrenaline and all those things, um then you end up living this life where you're constantly chasing that, and
yes,
the that's what I used to get when I stepped on the scale and I lost weight. That's what I used to get when I lost weight and people told me how great I looked. I would get those
mm,
those hits, those neurochemicals were firing. And you can get that from so many outside sources, but it can be dire and detrimental, because then you mistake that for true purpose and true joy. And as you said, we can find that. Like you and I can find that right now. I can just go,
Yes.
I'm so grateful that I have this connection in Australia, that I get to talk to, at night on a Wednesday, and it's her morning and we're connecting. And that actually brings me pure joy and happiness. And I think that the moment people understand that, and like I said before, steer away from maybe those things that tell us otherwise, because
Yes.
unfortunately, mass media and the multi-billion-dollar industries really want to feed us with the shame. Like they really want to do that, like, and the fat phobia and all that kind of stuff is to many industries' benefit, unfortunately. And so
Yes.
it's important to tune out of that and tune into this, and surround yourself by amazing people and have these amazing conversations. And as you said, like there's so many other sources of pure happiness that are
Yeah.
sustainable and long lasting, regardless of the flaps in the arms or the extra belly fat, right? True joy.
Absolutely true. You know what? And reality is, we're all going to age some other time, and our bodies are going to change, whether that's weight gain or, like wrinkled appearance or, whatever. Our boobs might hang to the floor.
Yes.
we
Yes.
we need to accept our bodies, like,
Yeah.
for the amazing things that they are, and they're ever changing. They're not always the same size. I don't know, size 2 or size 8.
Yeah.
Um, in Australia as you were when you were a teenager. No, our bodies are always evolving, and that's amazing. And that's one thing that I'm going to give my gratitude for, is my body. How amazing is it to have this body so that I can hug my friends, I can hug my husband, I can stand here in my human form talking to you about experiences. I can see the world, the sun is shining outside, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have this human body, and that is just
Absolutely.
such a gift.
I love that. I love that. And I will probably have to wrap up soon, but I just want to say to you, it's so beautiful and amazing, because even just having this conversation with you is, sometimes we need a little bit of the reminder, even us, right? In this world
Yes.
that we're in, maybe sometimes our inner voice is tired or whatever it is. It's always so important to have this, these supportive beings around us
Mm,
that inspire and remind us of all of these things. Even as you're talking, I'm like, I feel this warmth in my heart, and I'm like, this is it makes such a big difference. So and that's why it's so valuable to have people like you, um,
yes.
to remind you and to let you know and to affirm when we're too tired to affirm, and all those
Yeah,
things. So yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely, you are so 100% right. So I know you have an amazing community. So did you want to tell us just about your community, where I will actually be sharing and supporting next week? So
Yes.
let's let help people hop onto that. Let's start leaning onto one another.
Yes, ugh, thank you so much. So my company, my world is called Kelani, which is a Polynesian inspired wellness company. And then our programming is all about movement and meditation, which is a guided practice which helps people connect to their body from the inside, and nature and our higher selves and community. So that's basically what all my programming is about. We have movement classes, we have meditation and things like that. So, and we also have community gatherings, which is what you're going to be a part of. So on every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Canada time, which is Thursday, Melbourne time. What did we figure that
I
that's
think it
it's
was
you're
9
14 hours
a.m.
ahead.
Oh, was it 7
Yes.
a.m.? 7
I
7 a.m. I think. Yeah.
we'll,
That's
we'll
okay.
we'll figure it
We'll
out.
figure it
Yes.
out.
So that happens, and it's a private gathering. So and that's it's called Kelani Soul Diary. So that's where everybody comes in, and it's basically a forum like this. I call it the Brady Bunch Squares, where everybody just has an opportunity to share, and everybody else listens. It's a forum for active sharing, active caring, active listening. And you and I both know that during these times, community and listening are such important things. People just,
Mm,
we're not here to, necessarily solve each other's problems all the time. Sometimes people just need a space to to hear to have people listen to them. So that's what you're going to be part of. And on Monday night, my time, which is Tuesday morning, your time, and we'll put all the details on my site. We're going to be doing this again, but on my part of the world, and I'm going to be interviewing you, and I'm really excited about that because I'm not an eating disorder expert. I'm not a coach. I'm none of those things. I do movement and I do meditation, and so I love the fact that I have somebody to direct people towards, you know, in this very specific realm. So that's going to be my Monday night, your Tuesday morning Facebook Live on my Facebook page, Ioana Aboumitri. So you can find me there, or you can find me on Instagram at Kelani Dance, or my website, kelaniworld.com.
Yay! Thank you so much, Ioana, for joining us today. This has been such an amazing chat. I think we're going to have to do this more often.
I know, I love this. This is fun.
I look forward to our chat next week in your community as well. But thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me. And hopefully you have a beautiful evening.
Thank you. Have a beautiful morning and day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Bye.